You've probably heard the term Web3 thrown around as the next evolution of the internet, but what does it actually mean? Is it just marketing hype? Or is there something genuinely revolutionary happening? Web3 promises to shift power from tech giants back to users, creating a more decentralized, transparent, and user-owned internet. In this video, I'll explain what Web3 is, how it differs from the current internet, what problems it aims to solve, real examples of Web3 applications, and whether the vision is realistic or overhyped. Let's dive in. To understand Web3, we need to understand Web 1 and Web 2 first. Web 1, roughly from 1990 to 2004, was the read-only web. Websites were static pages. You could visit sites and read information, but interaction was limited. Think early Yahoo, personal homepages, and basic forums. Content creators were few, mostly tech-savvy people who could code HTML. Users were primarily consumers of information. Web 2, from around 2004 to now, is the read-write web. Platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram let anyone create and share content easily. You don't need coding skills. The web became interactive and social. This democratized content creation and connected billions of people. However, Web 2 platforms are centralized. Facebook owns your social graph. YouTube owns your content and subscriber relationships. Amazon owns customer data. These platforms profit from your data and content while maintaining control. You're the product, not the customer. Web3 aims to be the read-write-own web. It uses blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies to enable user ownership and decentralization. Instead of Facebook owning your social connections, you own them as data you control. Instead of YouTube controlling your channel, you own your content and audience relationships directly. Web3 promises to return internet ownership to users rather than corporations. The core technologies enabling Web3 are blockchains, cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, and decentralized storage. Blockchains provide transparent, immutable records nobody controls. Cryptocurrencies enable payments and incentives without banks. Smart contracts automate agreements without intermediaries. Decentralized storage like IPFS and Arweave store data across many computers rather than centralized servers. Together, these technologies aim to rebuild internet infrastructure without central points of control. Let's look at concrete examples. In Web 2, if you build an audience on YouTube and YouTube bans your channel, you lose everything. Your years of content, your subscribers, your income, all gone. YouTube's platform, YouTube's rules. In Web 3, you could publish videos to decentralized storage, use a blockchain-based identity system viewers subscribe to, and earn cryptocurrency directly from viewers or advertisers without a platform intermediary. If one interface bans you, your content and audience relationships persist because you control them, not a platform. NFTs are a Web 3 application most people have heard about. Beyond expensive digital art, NFTs represent ownership of digital items on blockchains. In Web 2 games, you might buy virtual items, but the game company owns them. They can delete your account, and items disappear. Web 3 games use NFTs for items. You truly own them. You can sell them, trade them, or use them in different games that recognize the same NFT standards. Ownership transfers from company control to user control. Decentralized social media platforms are emerging as Web3 alternatives to Twitter and Facebook. Lens Protocol and Farcaster let you own your social graph. Your followers, content, and identity exist on the blockchain. You can switch between different apps and interfaces while keeping your social connections. Compare this to Twitter, where switching to a competitor means starting from 0 followers. Web3 social platforms are early and clunky, but the concept of portable social identity is powerful. Decentralized finance, which we've covered in previous videos, is perhaps the most mature Web3 sector. DeFi platforms like Uniswap and Aave demonstrate Web3 principles. No company controls them. Users interact directly with smart contracts. Platforms can't freeze accounts or censor users. This financial infrastructure exists independently of traditional gatekeepers. Web3 identity systems like ENS, Ethereum Name Service, replace complex wallet addresses with readable names. Instead of sending crypto to a long string like 0x7422D3566346C0532925A3B844BC9E7595F0BEB you send to Alice Eth. This identity is owned by the user, not a company. It can work across different applications and platforms. Your Web3 identity could eventually hold your credentials, reputation, social connections, and digital assets, all under your control. Decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, represent Web3 governance. Instead of traditional companies with shareholders and boards, DAOs use smart contracts and token voting. Token holders vote on proposals. Smart contracts execute decisions automatically. This creates organizations nobody owns or controls in the traditional sense. The community collectively governs. MakerDAO, which manages the DAI stablecoin, operates as a DAO with billions in assets managed by token holder votes rather than a CEO. However, Web3 faces significant challenges and criticisms. The user experience is terrible compared to Web2. Wallets, private keys, gas fees, and blockchain complexity intimidate normal users. My parents can use Facebook. They absolutely cannot use most Web3 apps currently. Until Web3 achieves Web2, level simplicity, mass adoption won't happen. Scalability is a major technical challenge. Ethereum processes about 15 transactions per second. Twitter handles thousands of tweets per second. Blockchains can't currently match Web2 platform scale. Layer 2 solutions and alternative chains improve this, but we're far from Web2 performance levels. A truly decentralized YouTube would struggle to serve billions of video views daily on current blockchain infrastructure. Decentralization often isn't as decentralized as claimed. Many Web3 projects use centralized infrastructure behind the scenes. Websites accessing blockchains often run on Amazon Web Services. Decentralized apps might have admin keys that let developers control everything. True decentralization is difficult and expensive. Many projects are decentralized theater, using blockchain buzzwords while remaining centrally controlled. The environmental impact of proof-of-work blockchains drew massive criticism. Ethereum's switch to proof-of-stake largely addressed this. But Bitcoin and some other chains still consume enormous energy. Web3's environmental footprint must improve for mainstream acceptance. Speculation dominates Web3 currently. Most people involved care more about token prices than building useful applications. The 2021 NFT mania saw people buying digital images, hoping to flip them for profit, not because they cared about digital ownership. This speculation creates bubbles and scams that damage Web3's reputation. Until builders focus on utility over speculation, skepticism will persist. Regulatory uncertainty looms over Web3. Governments are still figuring out how to regulate crypto, DAOs, and decentralized platforms. Unclear regulations create risks for projects and users. Some jurisdictions might ban or heavily restrict Web3 technologies. Projects must navigate regulatory challenges while trying to maintain decentralization principles. Centralized platforms won't disappear easily. Facebook, Google, and Amazon provide massive value through convenience, features, and network effects. Most people don't care about decentralization enough to sacrifice user experience. Web3 needs to match or exceed Web2 convenience before average users switch. Building better products matters more than decentralization philosophy. The realistic view is that Web3 represents genuine innovation with transformative potential, but current implementation is early, clunky, and often overhyped. Blockchains enable things impossible in Web 2, like truly owning digital assets and operating platforms without corporate control. These are meaningful capabilities. However, Web 3 solving all internet problems and replacing big tech soon is unrealistic. The likely outcome is hybrid systems. Traditional companies will adopt blockchain technology where it provides value. Banks experiment with stablecoins. Gaming companies explore NFTs for actual utility. Social platforms might implement portable identity features. Web 2 platforms won't disappear, but might incorporate Web 3 elements. Pure Web 3 platforms will serve niches, valuing decentralization, privacy, or censorship resistance. My honest take is that Web3's core ideas about user ownership and decentralization are important and worth pursuing. The current internet's concentration of power in a few companies creates real problems. Web3 offers an alternative model. However, technology alone doesn't solve social and economic problems. Web3 faces massive challenges in usability, scalability, and actual decentralization. The space is filled with hype, scams, and speculation alongside genuine innovation. Approach Web3 with cautious optimism. The vision is compelling, but implementation has a long way to go. If you found this explanation helpful, make sure to subscribe. In the next video, I'll explain Layer 1 versus Layer 2 blockchains and why this scaling solution matters for crypto's future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.